Hey there, I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of How to Paint Like a Hypocritical Leader, aka Democrat. And if this is your first time joining us, I'd like to welcome you to pull up a chair and take off that mask, because the damn thing doesn't do anything anyway, but we're going to keep believing it does because the MSN tells us to, and we're sheep living in fear for our lives, and we don't really have the ability to think for ourselves. Bah! So I want to give a big shout out to Big Daddy Unlimited. So for 99 cents for your initial sign up and $10 a month after that, you get access to amazing ammunition, firearms, great things out there. You know, everything that Democrats cringe when they hear about. You know, stuff that liberal men probably don't want to really touch, but those liberal feminists are all about doing. Their shaved heads and hairy armpits and out there hiking in the wilderness and masturbating with cans of tomato soup and screaming at the sky and trying to say how much they hate men but want to be like men, and you know how it goes. So click that code down below, and code Burke is going to save you some money off of that. A big thank you to them. So let's get started. So as you can see, I got a brand new painty thingy. I forget what these things are called. I like to call them a bad girl smacker. When she's bad, I like to give her a little pop. But I kind of upgraded. I went a little bit bigger because bigger is better. I don't care what she says. She always wants bigger for men that are smaller. They make pills for it. I'm sure Big Daddy Unlimited might be able to point you in the right direction as well. Subtle plug. So essentially, I kind of got more bang for my buck. Almost as if I spent less money and got more for it. Kind of like the idea of over 5 million people leaving California to get the hell out of there because the government keeps taking all their money to raise taxes and pay for all those homeless people shitting all over business doorsteps. Makes perfect sense to me. Not really, because I'm not from California and I'm not stupid. So we're going to go ahead and start with our Gavin Newsom blue here. There we go. Look at all that blue. So much blue. So before we get started, we've covered our entire canvas in some liquid white privilege. So we always want to make sure that we always start with a base coat of that liquid white privilege, because everything wants to go on top of that whiteness. It's always the whiteness base that seems to support everything out there. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Now, according to how we're going to paint today, we're going to take a little, we're going to pull a little sneaky on you. So I'm going to tell you that I'm going to use my 1-inch phallic brush, but I'm really going to use my 2, because you're going to use the 1 and I'm going to use the 2, because that's how blue likes to operate. So we're just going to smear it around there, get all that blue all over the place there, and it really doesn't serve much purpose with all that blue. It's just kind of taking up space and taxing the shit out of everybody and making people's lives miserable. And so let's get started. We got some Gavin Newsom blue. We're just going to go ahead and get started. Put a nice little base coat of blue across all this white privilege. Again, much like how Democrats love using the white people to blame all their problems on. Meanwhile, it's the white people supporting all the fiscal issues they bring upon themselves. It's just how it always seems to work. And of course, as you know, if we didn't have identity politics, well then we just wouldn't have any politics now, would we? This blue kind of reminds me of, you got Gavin Newsom out there enforcing the most strictest lockdowns and regulations in California, and yet he's out there dining in restaurants, doing whatever the hell he wants to do, while hundreds of thousands of businesses under his leadership go tits up because they can't afford anything because he shut them down, but he's out there having dinner wherever he wants to go. That's just a beautiful style of leadership. Where did we see that one before? Oh yeah, I think it had something to do with a third and a Reich. I forget. I'm sure we'll remember later. If you'd like to buy a raffle ticket to purchase this one-of-a-kind, authentic John Ross, and it'll be signed, you can click that little linky link down below in the description there, and you can sign up to get your one. So the next color we're going to use for our foundation, some Steve Adler green. And we're going to switch brushes here. We're going to go to our 1-inch, but you're going to use your 2 because you're going to do as I say, not as I do. And we're just going to mix some of that green around there, and there we go. Nice and green. Look at all that blue trying to get all that green. Just taking all that green away from all the people. Ah, it's poetic. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to form our foundation of green here. Oh, it's a beautiful little green. You got old Steve Adler, mayor of Austin, calling for lockdowns again and telling people what they can and can't do, what businesses can and can't open, saying there's going to be another curfew coming around right before New Year's. And meanwhile, he's out there in Cabo celebrating it up, probably running on the beach with some bikini-clad little Mexican senoritas and having some fun out there in the sands and the white sandy beaches. No, I mean, a lot of people could be pretty pissed off about this, to be honest with you, but again, just kind of like with California, they turned Austin blue or weird, and this is what you get. So there's kind of some phrases that I learned when I was on leave in Mexico that kind of describe people like Adler and Newsom and a lot of them. One of them was el hypocrito. That's Spanish for you're a fucking hypocrite. So the next color we're gonna use is gonna be some politician chicken shit yellow. So for this painting, we're gonna use a specialty brush. It's called my large fan brush, and we're just gonna use it to kind of mix away some of this cowardly politician yellow and just mix it on in there. We're just gonna fan the flames of rebellion, because the more they shut these businesses down, the less they have to lose, and they're eventually gonna start rising up and disobeying in unison, and that's when America's gonna reopen. It won't happen until then. The people have got to unite. So here we go. We got it nice and worked in there. We're just gonna add some dabs in there. Just some sun rays coming up from the ground. Oh yeah, that sun's rising. Happy little sun streaks here. There we go. That's coming up. Because no matter what happens, the sun will rise tomorrow. Again, unless you live in places like New York where everything's so damn polluted and you can't see anything. Make these sunrise go all the way up. Maybe do a little strokes in there. Speaking of strokes, wasn't it Kumo that basically put all the old people in nursing homes and had them killed off from all the COVID spread because we're all in this together? Yet, yeah, interesting. Weird how that works, but we forgot about that. But old Fredo up there on CNN talking all the good things about his brother, and they're sucking each other off on live TV. Now we're just gonna go ahead and mix these on up. Have those sun rays kind of spreading up there towards the ceiling. And this is also referred to as a wet on wet technique, or as I like to call it, when two lesbians are scissoring. It's almost like it's like an explosion here. Kind of makes your hair stand up. Speaking of hair standing up, it's almost how Nancy Pelosi was kind of like violating LA ordinance or law when she got her hair done, and then she tried to play the whole crazy eye thing of, I didn't know any better. Yes, you did, you witch. Oh, death can't come calling soon enough for you. Now, I would say I'd love to piss on your grave once you're dead, but I swore after the army I'd never stand in line again. Now, I know normally I would try and practice some brotherly Christian love and never wish death on anybody, but I think even God himself wonders what the hell happened when he created a Pelosi. Even the devil's like, she ain't coming down here. You better open up a whole different gate into a whole different dimension and put that wicked witch of the West. We don't want her. She'd try to go down there and probably take over and tax the demons. I mean, speaking of going down there and taking over hell, I bet Kamala would go down there and, she'd be on her knees in front of the devil just to get ahead in life and suck the fire right out of that dude's dick. So here we go. Let's go ahead and paint a little base layer here and come up to the side. There we go, up to the side there. And we're gonna another little base layer, almost like we're building a happy little boat just to sail the hell out of this blue state because we just don't like it anymore. And I'm gonna paint some little uppy thingies there. Happy little upward strokes. We're gonna make sure we solidify this again. Happy little upward strokes. It's almost like it's a little crown that all the political leaders are wearing to rule over the peasants that put them there. Pretty much how they look at themselves these days. Absorbed and saturated on so much self-given power, and didn't they just give themselves a raise in the new stimulus bill too? No, I can't be right on that. There's no way they'd be that low down and dirty and twisted. Just no way. So there's our little happy little crown there. We got all these little sun rays coming down from it. Oh, the power of the crown. Now we're gonna bring this bad boy together, and we're gonna use our secret ingredient, freedom. Well, how about that? Christy Noam, the one who decided to choose the side of liberty and freedom, and her economy is just kicking ass out there, and she's pretty much the only woman with a set of balls that actually stood up against the populists out there and said, I'm gonna do what the Constitution says. And before you get me started on Greg Abbott, who's trying to counter what's going on in Austin right now, Well, old Greggy Greg there, he actually enforced shutdowns in Texas. So again, it's a do as I say, not as I do. So it's kind of ironic that the one with the balls is the one without. There's still only two genders. So if you'd like to bid on this painting, click on that little happy little link down below. We appreciate all the love and support from Big Daddy Unlimited. And also make sure you check out Shell Shock CBD. It's my own company. You can click it up there. And again, we look forward to seeing you again. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitch, where I stream every day. You have yourselves a happy little day.